Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're talking about Black Ops 6 review. This is for week 1. And just want to preface this, this is a COD game. That should say quite a bit about what I'm going to be talking about and what the expectations are. I'm not here to change your mind to buy Black Ops 6. If you don't want to play COD, don't play COD. It's as simple as that. If you are curious, perfect. But yeah, I'm not here to change minds or anything. I'm just here to talk about the maps, the gameplay, the omni-movement, which is new to Call of Duty, though not new to gaming. And then also to talk about just the beta itself. So if that all sounds interesting, wonderful. Stick around. Let me just check my audio. Perfect. Audio sounds great. So, first, let's talk about the maps. The maps feel more like Cold War maps, where you have, of course, your 3 main lanes, but like the maps aren't necessarily all directly on or in line with where the main spawns are. They're more kind of canted. So they're mirrored in a way, but they're not like straight up and down or from side to side. They're more like angled across kind of where the spawns are. And most of the maps are actually set up this way. And so there's kind of more pieing the corner. There's also different levels too. The majority of all of the maps are all on one single level, and sometimes that's basically all they have too. But still, there's some opportunities around a lot of these maps where you can be on a different level, or you can be up on a crate or a box or something. And they've all designed it that way just to create as many angles as possible, so that kind of really nobody can camp. You still have some campers, of course. But generally you can get around and behind everybody. And of course the spawns help with that too, but more on the maps. One side too is also, at least for the larger maps, one side is generally more open than the other side. This usually still has some divots in the ground, still has some crates around or boxes or something. And maybe even a small structure, but generally it's a lot more open. So if your playstyle is more long range, or kind of sitting and waiting, then that's more your side. And then the other side is generally more tight, with buildings and structures and containers and whatever, or maybe even a second floor, but doesn't go across all the way across the entire map. So I think of Skyline with this. It's a little more tight, but it's got some more open areas too on both sides. But one side generally only has a floor. Or a second floor. Skyline actually has 3, where one is just kind of a tunnel where you can kind of bypass a lot and just get behind enemy lines and take out that way. So there's actually a lot of different avenues in the game. Technically, there's 4 in that one. And but yeah, there's also some really small maps too that they're going to introduce into Black Ops 6, and I mean really small, like shipment small. And this is where machine guns are going to really excel. The spawns are pretty frustrating on the small maps. I mean, there's really going to be no time to to be able to get kill streaks going. And of course, too, these maps, we even had a map mode where there weren't any even kill streaks available. So we are going to have maps built around just engagement, just team versus team, and whichever does the best at teamwork is actually going to win, or plays the objective is going to win. So yeah, the fact that we have maps this time that don't have any kill streaks, I think is pretty amazing, because people have been calling for that or get frustrated. But again, we still have quite a few maps as well that also have kill streaks in other game modes. But yeah, overall the spawns are still pretty frustrating. I mean, they're spawning in weird random spots. You're getting shot in the back all the time. And I feel like, too, the teams actually switch pretty quickly. So the team kind of can push across the map. And usually about roughly 55 or 60%, they would kind of switch. So now I kind of feel like it's half and half. Like if you spawn 3 times on one side of the map, it's randomly going to shift you over to the other side. That's what it felt like with the gameplay that I was experiencing. Larger maps have better spawns, but still it's going to be pretty hard to camp because, again, the game is constantly switching where your team is going to be spawning from. In the larger maps, you do generally flip back and forth, but that can still happen really, really fast. I mean, we can run maybe 60 seconds to a minute and a half before like the spawns actually start flipping again. So it happens very, very quickly. Um, Larger maps, this also can be an issue with hardpoint. Like your spawn can be so far away that it takes forever to try to actually get to the hard point. So on Scud, I had a hard point that was 80 meters away, which is insane. And then on Derelict, I had 60 meters away. And a lot of them were like 40 to 50 meters. So no matter what, when I died, I would really have to take time to run over there to try to get there. And some maps just felt rigged with the timing and stuff. And I don't think it was anything intentional with the game, but it's just everything coalesced perfectly for the other team where our team just could not get over there, and it was just incredibly frustrating. And once we died, it's like, oh, okay, great. Now we got another 8-9 seconds to actually try to run over there to start taking some ground back. And then the point would move, and I mean, and it was just like that some matches all the time, especially on Scud. That seemed to actually happen quite a bit, which that one's definitely a bigger map. Spawns may be set up, though, to fight against camping. With that kind of flipping back and forth so quickly, that might actually be intentional. And then also, too, with having points be so far away, it takes players longer to actually get to the point of action, and allows the other team to set up. So this could actually be trying to keep sweats out of the fight longer. Because I think regardless, for a weaker player that maybe isn't as good or talented, whether they're in the fight or not, they don't have as much of a chance, or it's not going to matter as much unless they're actually working with their team. But for the sweats, it's going to matter more if they're actually out of the fight for longer periods of time, and that gives non-sweats the advantage, just the dads like me, right? Let's talk about, my favorite map was Skyline and Scud. I liked both of those actually quite a bit. The maps I hated was Rewind. That one's probably my least favorite. And then Gala was another one. There's almost no hard cover whatsoever on that map, and so you're just constantly dying all the time. Let's talk about gunplay. So this is comparing Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Vanguard. More or less just the Modern Warfare reboots. Most of the guns and gunplay actually feels pretty good. SMGs are still king. The best right now is the Jackal. This is actually a pre-order bonus, which is feels like a little bit pay to win there, unless they nerf it. And then if they do nerf it or whatever, which is likely, they usually do nerfs SMGs after betas, and also throughout the life cycle of the game. Is it then fraud? Because if people really like the Jackal and it's a pre-order bonus, they're going to go out and pre-order it probably for the Jackal. And they don't necessarily have to spend any extra money, as far as I understand. But then if they're pre-ordering on purpose, or maybe even buying an extra bundle for another $10 or $20, is that kind of fraud a little bit? Because now they've weakened it, and it's like, well, the whole point of pre-ordering, I didn't really then need to do that if the Jackal's junk at the start of the game. So we'll have to see actually at launch what it's like, and I'll take time to play it. But yeah, right now, the Jackal is really flipping incredible. It still has pretty good damage range. It shoots very quickly. It's pretty quick also to reload. Movement is really good with it, of course, because it's an SMG. And then it's really stable once you get some attachments on there. So it's not the best sight picture, but again, of course, optics help fix that. But yeah, it's pretty incredible. Let's see, LMGs, we only got one. But really, you can hold a location with a red dot or with the holographic. It's actually really, really good. It is very slow, of course, but you can use it to counter helicopters and counter UAVs, which I was pretty surprised with. And it actually works on taking them down pretty good. So you got to make sure those hits are consistent, and yeah, you can work those helos down in freaking no time. It's wonderful. They are, of course, pretty slow moving. They do feel pretty cumbersome, but like if you're taking time to pie your corner, and you get those first shots on, you're going to have more damage probably than the other guy, just by a hair. And you're going to be likely to get that kill. I also had some kills or some areas where I was able to get 2 or 3 bodies at a time, which was wonderful with that thing. And then, of course, the magazine, you could get all the way up to 200 rounds. Like, I totally max leveled that thing at 47, and just really enjoyed using that. The enemy team didn't, though, but that was really fun. Yeah, it's really good, of course, for domination and hardpoint. You got all of that ammo. You got all of the time. You have a wide range of optics. You can increase your damage range and your attack power, all of that stuff. It's really good. It's actually pretty stable too. For an LMG, usually they're shooting all over the place, but boy, not this thing. Yeah, the XM4 was actually really good. Snipers, they have slower ADS compared to what feels normal compared to Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Also slower fire rates too, including the Dragunov. Usually Dragunov is pretty quick, but this feels just a little bit slower. Most of the shots, though, with all of the sniper rifles, including the Dragunov, are one-shot kills. So if you get that shot off, it's going to be great. Now, you do have flinch. I do want to mention this, too, that flinch is going to be more of an issue for snipers. Because, yeah, when you start getting hit, boy, your sight is jumping all over the place. But if you have a sight that's zoomed in really far, flinch is going to affect you less. That's counterintuitive, of course, to real life. But I'm just playing around with different optics in the game. But yeah, if you're zoomed in really far, it's going to affect you less. You're basically going to be able to maintain your sight picture for the most part, especially if you have some also attachments to help with flinch. But if you have a, let's say, like a 4x scope or a hybrid or a red dot or something, and you start getting hit, that flinch is insane. Your mark is way off, and good luck getting a shot off. You're definitely going to lose. And I got to see that too, fighting some snipers with various weapons, is that, when they start getting hit, they would start missing those shots, and I'd be able to get them down before they could really do anything. Let's talk about shotguns. We only got one. The one that we had was a pump action, so of course don't miss that first shot because you're not going to have a second one most likely. But it did have some reach. You definitely had to aim down the sight. But it didn't feel as cumbersome either as maybe some of the shotguns in Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2, so that was really nice. But yeah, it did have some reach. It was pretty good around tight corners and stuff. It was a heck of a lot more effective once you get used to it than with the SMGs and stuff. Let's talk about the pistol. We did have a pistol, and this is like a hidden OP weapon. It's quite overpowered. You have very quick movement. It hits hard. And a lot of times you only needed 3 shots. For a lot of the other weapons, you needed 4 to 6. Except for, of course, the sniper rifles. Most of the time, you just needed 1. But like for the LMG, assault rifle, and SMG, unless you're doing straight headshots, which is impossible unless you're cheating, you'd be getting 4 to 6 shots. But yeah, with the pistol, you just need 3. And then 2, with not having any magnification or anything, your sensitivity still being fairly high, you're able to whip that pistol around corners like crazy and get shots off. And then you're also able to transition it also the fastest in the game besides meleeing than any other weapon. So like if you needed to, you could just switch to that real quick and just not even worry. It's way faster than reloading. So yeah, that pistol was pretty OP. I had multiple instances where I was getting 3 or 4 kills at a time before I was actually being put down. And this is after skill-based matchmaking had already kicked in. It does have a pretty short damage range, though. So, yeah, boost that range as far as you can. And that's definitely going to help you out. For my weapons, my favorite loadouts were having the LMG as my primary and then the Jackal as a backup. When I would run out of that mag. And then my second type of loadout that I really enjoyed with weapons was actually the Dragunov and the pistol. So yeah, using the Dragunov, going through my 10 rounds or whatever it is, I could easily switch to the pistol and usually get another kill or 2 before getting put down. And that's generally how I would run it. Let's talk about kill streaks real quick. Generally, the kill streaks feel kind of worthless, kind of weak. So the helo feels dialed back. It's not as aggressive as it used to be, as some of the others are, and it doesn't seem to also shoot as often. So, like, I got to play some matches this week with Modern Warfare 3, and the helo is way more aggressive than what Black Ops 6 has. So, yeah, it's dialed back. It doesn't shoot as often. It does ping targets on the map, which is cool. That's actually really nice. But, yeah, with your helicopter, you're going to be lucky to get 5 kills with it. So, again, you're going to have to do most of the killing. It's not like it's going to get, somewhere between 5 and 10 or even a dozen different kills, depending on the map. The UV2, or the UAV, also feels really short. doesn't last very long, so you can use it roughly for 20 seconds, and then that's it. It's gone. Counter UAV is basically the same thing. It can last for a longer period of time, but now you can shoot it down. So you can shoot it down with your light machine gun, your assault rifle, your sniper rifle, and a sniper rifle doesn't take very many shots. It's basically, 10 or less rounds, and you can take that sucker down. So yeah, the counter UAV is actually fairly vulnerable. The RC car, it's loud and slow, and it's pretty easy to track auditorily or even visually if you have recon of actually where it is and what it's doing and all that. And it's pretty easy to shoot. It's bigger too. It's a pretty big piece of equipment. Now I do feel like the explosive has a wider area of effect. So you do have to shoot it when you see it, but it's not hard to shoot. It's pretty slow. The acceleration is pretty slow, and it's kind of clunky to drive. I was seeing a lot of people were struggling with that. And some of the earlier Black Ops, that thing can just whip and race around like crazy, and you can get your kill, generally speaking. But yeah, these RC cars, they're easy to take down, so it's pretty worthless. We also had a Hellfire, and again, it feels the same. It's a Hellfire. You can get 2 or 3 kills, generally speaking, on a map, unless it's a really short one and you got some people bunched up. But it requires a lot of kills. It requires more than the Helo does, which is kind of insane. I think it's 10. I think you actually need 10 kills to get this. And before, Predator drone or whatever, I mean, you could easily get 5 kills and be able to do that. So yeah, my favorite kill streaks are UAV and Helo. I was using those pretty often. And just when I could. Let's talk about omni-movement. And I know this was a big thing. They worked on changing this and building it up from the ground up. And it does change the game some. So the same speed in any direction. That's huge. It's easier to retreat. It's easier to get around. You can actually strafe now. And so, yeah, backing up or going to the side, you're just as fast as going forward. So it makes movement quite hectic in tight spaces. And so sometimes I'd even say don't even aim down the sight. Just shoot from the hip if you got an SMG or something like that. And just run with that. Otherwise, yeah, it is just constantly going bonkers all the time. Facing people head on, it feels the same, but again, strafing and all that stuff, they're able to manipulate the controls better in a way that it's a little bit more efficient trying to whip around. And I was able to do that some myself, and just, I was already taking people down before they were even facing me. While we were in a gunfight. And I had that, of course, too. Sometimes some people were able to just almost felt like jump around my shoulder and just take me out before I could even start to turn around. It's pretty insane. There's also a huge advantage to being prone now. And so you don't have to have your arms extended out in front of your body. You can now be on your back and have your arms and gun in front over you. And so you're less exposed. You're less likely to give your position away, and you have a smaller profile. And so that's actually really nice. There's also no movement penalties when you're prone. So you can turn the same speed basically all the way around, which is really nice. And now we can dive to the side, dive behind, or dive forward. Before it was just you could dive forward, and now you can dive in just about pretty much any direction. And there's no penalty for this, at least for the diving thing. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but it felt like while I was diving, just using the joystick directly left, directly right, felt like it was slightly off a little bit, so I'd have to aim down slightly to the left or to the right. And of course, depending on your sensitivity, if down is slower or less sensitive than your left to right, that's going to slow down your movement a little bit of where you're actually pointing your gun. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to be doing some more testing. Morning, Muffin. And but yeah, that'll be kind of interesting. Many of us, again, have less sensitivity, so it does feel a little slower when I was actually diving. Also, you have to take some time to stand up if you're going to dive and be prone. So you get that advantage for that first shot with somebody, but otherwise, it's going to be frustrating, and it's going to be a mess actually going prone or doing that dive, because you're not going to be able to get back up as quick, and the second guy behind the guy you just shot is going to be able to take you out. And I got to see that a lot. I got to do that myself personally, and I had that happen to me too. So after a while, I wasn't even really diving that much, unless I was kind of trying to get behind cover or get away from somebody or get around a corner maybe, which in that case, I just run into somebody else and get killed anyway. So I feel like diving is kind of a novelty. A lot of people are going to try it. A lot of people are going to try to use it. But, by the time I was getting into my third or fourth day of playing the beta, most people were still using the slide tactics. Sliding around the corner, sliding, in front of somebody, trying to get them to shoot over them, all that kind of stuff. The same tactics are there. I don't really feel like diving is going to actually change much. But the omni-movement, regardless, is definitely going to change the speed and the rate of things now that people can strafe, now that people can actually run backwards at the same speed as going forward. That is going to change some of the stuff. The beta itself, we had some hackers as normal, but I didn't really see too many. That was actually nice. Maybe saw one about every 5 matches or 10 matches or so, depending on what day it was. But again, it's a beta. This is actually pretty normal. Beta is not going to have any cheat stuff. Again, a beta is a part of a game, a separate small game that they have to build from the ground up, and they're not going to build a whole bunch of anti-cheat stuff into it when it's just going to run for a week or a couple of weeks. That, of course, will all be present when they actually launch the game, and if there's any issues with it, they'll be sure to guarantee that they actually fix that pretty quickly. Because it's a priority. Because again, if people are facing cheaters all the time and that's kind of an issue, they're not going to want to play and they're not going to make any money on those microtransactions. Games that don't have microtransactions, it's not as big of a deal or as big of a risk because people have already spent the money on the game itself. But yeah, when it's a live service game like this, they're going to fix that pretty quick. So I'm not worried about hackers. Okay, I'd be a lot more worried about the hackers in like the older CoDs and stuff. Day 1 playing the beta was amazing. I was getting easily 30 plus kills, sometimes even 40 plus kills on a match. It was pretty flippin' insane. I didn't really feel like there was any skill-based matchmaking because again, I was kind of registered as a new player just like everybody else, and I was just racking up those kills and leveling up guns multiple levels at a time. It was great. The second day, it was easy to tell I had skill-based matchmaking. It was definitely more challenging, and then I also had some lag issues. Again, it's part of that skill-based matchmaking. They will match your... They will match your ping to other players and try to even out the ping average for everybody. So even if your ping is amazing and wonderful... oh no, I'm just... sorry, man. I'm just doing Black Ops 6 beta review for the first week. And then, yeah, beta's going up again today, I think. It's open for everybody. But yeah, my second day, there's definitely more challenging. Definitely had some of that lag, which was frustrating. I mean, I literally had blips that were like a full second, which is a very long time in a gunfight in COD. Maybe in Hell Let Loose or even Battlefield or something, maybe wouldn't matter as much. But yeah, full second was just insane. Day 3 was the worst. Lots of lag. Probably every other match I had lag like that. I kind of got used to it after a certain point. There were probably a lot of people playing as well because, again, it was the weekend. But there were other issues too. People lagging around the corner, bullets kind of going through stuff that it normally didn't on day 1 and 2. So there's like packet burst or packet loss or whatever, or desync issues. It was kind of a mess. Partly it's probably just from so many people playing. And that kind of sucked. But yeah, skill-based matchmaking was in freaking full swing, man. I mean, that third day was just sweaty every single match. And I was amazed how fast I actually moved through the skill-based matchmaking ranks. With playing objective, getting those kills that first day, it really moved me up real quick, I feel like. And so yeah, I was fighting people on my own level, and boy, yeah, it was getting pretty rough there. I was also amazed how much lag I had. Even though my ping really didn't change. I was playing with a buddy from the UK, so I normally had ping around 130 to 150. But even though my ping generally stayed the same through all 3 days that I played, God, that lag was just brutal. It was just brutal as crap. It's like the game was literally tweaking my ping to adjust the sliders to make other teammates or other enemies more kind of on the same level. You know, where like we were more all on the same level, and just felt like the game was tweaking with stuff like that. It was just crazy. Yeah, because my ping was the same. It shouldn't have been doing that. Some players definitely focus on kills rather than the objective. So again, I'm more of an objective guy. Old man. I kind of enjoy doing this. Um, but but yeah, it was kind of a mess. Um, there's still those people that play the objective, which is nice. One game mode that in particular that I actually really enjoyed was HVT, which is high value target. Somebody gets selected on each team simultaneously that they're the high value target, and the goal is to kill that target. And this makes the players the objective, which is cool. And it kind of almost bridged those that love to go for kills and to the ones that just love playing the objective. It's like, okay, now it's the same thing. It's literally the same goal. So I felt like the teams actually worked really well together. And it made it more challenging, and it also made it more fun. The HVT also gets more hit points. And so you got to take some time to really kind of take them down while you're fighting everybody else. And you kind of calculate risk there versus actually taking the time to maybe just kind of wait it out for more of your teammates to help you push. And that seemed to actually be better instead of going out there Rambo. No, you weren't going to make it because literally the entire team is camping or helping the HVT move a little bit. But the HVT wants to get kills too. They also want to be in the action a little bit. They don't necessarily want to wait most of the time. So yeah, there's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of dynamics changing throughout that type of match, and it's quite challenging. You really got to stay on your toes and actually read what your team and what the other team is doing. Because yeah, if y'all push too far, your HVT can get hit. And so you're kind of like playing those dual objectives of defense and attack at the same time. Let's see. So yeah, overall, I haven't been this excited for a Call of Duty since Cold War. I'm pretty excited. I still have my reservations. That skill-based matchmaking is still going to get pretty frustrating. So yeah, playing by myself, probably not going to do it as much, especially once I've leveled up the guns that I actually really enjoy. The problem that I'm going to have is, again, the lag and stuff. That's going to be frustrating, coupled with that skill-based matchmaking. But yeah, if my friends want to play, yeah, it'll be a pretty easy game to hop on with. I also really enjoyed Cold War. I enjoyed the zombies for the most part. I really enjoyed the campaign. I thought it was one of the better campaigns we'd had in a while. And I still believe that. I liked it a lot more than Black Ops 3. Than Infinite Warfare, than Advanced Warfare. Though Advanced Warfare was pretty dang good too. But yeah, I really enjoyed that campaign. It was such a blast. Just wish it was a little longer. But yeah, with this, again, I'm excited for the campaign. It's going to pick up kind of where Cold War left off. I'm excited too to try the zombies as we're going back to just regular levels again in different maps. And I'm excited too to work through the multiplayer, to try the different modes, try the maps, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it still will be a Call of Duty game. Just to update you guys, we won't have a Call of Duty event this month, this September. Normally we do this just to invite other folks to play and have a good time, but I got too much work. I got other family stuff going on, and so yeah, it's just too much right now. I'm not going to have any weekend available. But next month, October, excuse me, my goal is actually to do Black Ops 6 Friday through Sunday. At least for a few hours at a time. I will be going live, so stay tuned for that, or subscribe to my Twitch or whatever, and put your notification on. However that exactly works, and I will also post on YouTube. So I mean, either one, I guess. But yeah, if we can get you guys in, get you into the party or whatever, and it's just going to be first come, first serve. So of course, my friends are going to have dibs first, and then yeah, we'll try to add more people to the team, or even kind of rotate people out every so often if there's people that, waiting in line that are interested. But yeah, we want to include people. This is really what this kind of COD event is for. We just want to include people and play together and have a good time and chat and just kind of have fun. That's what it used to be like in multiplayer for a lot of us older folks. And that really doesn't happen today, which is really sad for all of us. So yeah, Black Ops 6 will be October. That will likely be 25th, 26th, and 27th. I think that's Friday and through Sunday. So yeah, come play with us if you want it. In November, it'll be an old COD again. So that, again, will be November. So thanks for tuning in, folks. You can always like, sub, all that jazz. Also share the content. I think sometimes I don't necessarily censor what I say. I use words that YouTube doesn't like kill and death and all of that. And so, yeah, but I don't necessarily censor myself. I want to say what I want to say, and I don't want to be manipulated that way for views and all that stuff. I really just want to be myself and present that to you guys. And so, yeah, if you appreciate that about my channel as well, yeah, like and sub, make sure the bell notification is on, all that stuff. And then, yeah, share the content too. My goal here is really to educate people with the channel and also have it be a fun place to hang out and or maybe even just take a load off and just chill for a while, or even just play with some of us as well. That's what these COD events are for. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Boy, hang in there with the heat. We're almost done. We're in September now. And, hurricane season again is around the corner. It's already kind of been kicking off. But yeah, it's not over yet. So hang in there. And yeah, whatever you're going through, just, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Nothing stays the same forever. If it's good, it's going to change. And if it's bad, it's going to change too. So hang in there, enjoy the good times, and prepare for the bad ones. And with that, folks, I'll see you guys on the next one.